their electrical grid and try to demoralize the country or what have you. And they've made some gains in Donetsk, and they're losing 7,000 soldiers a week, 7,000 dead soldiers a week from Russia's side. So as of now, I mean, that's the assessment we have to make. They've made a demand that Ukraine can't agree to.
And with that, we'll welcome in Tommy Pigott. He is the principal deputy spokesperson for the State Department. He just returned home as well after attending the G7 meetings. So thanks for taking the time, Tom. Always good to see you. We appreciate that. It's somewhat of, though, a bleak picture from the Secretary of State where things stand between Russia, Ukraine. Can you give us maybe a little bit more on that from the State Department and that viewpoint on where things are between those two nations?
Well, look, as the Secretary said, as you just played, Russia has made a demand that Ukraine can't accept, and that is where we are currently. We've been clear, though, that we're ready to have a meeting. We're ready to advance the cause of peace. We want to see this war come to an end. We're not going to have a meeting for the sake of holding a meeting, though. The Secretary also made clear that if we do have a meeting, there needs to be concrete results that come from that, constructive steps that result out of that meeting. But we're ready to have that. We're ready to have that meeting. We want to see this war end. The president's made clear that he wants people to be able to go home, and be with their families, live prosperous lives. 7,000 soldiers dying every single week from the Russia side. That is an extremely high number. We want to see this conflict come to an end. And so we're ready to aid in that effort when that's possible to do so.
Yeah, that's been going on for years at this point. So hopefully something happens where there's no more senseless death. We also heard from the Secretary about the Trump administration aiming to test nuclear weapons on U.S. soil for the first time in over 3 decades. This made some news on Truth Social. Here's his response to that.
Trump's pledge to resume testing of our nuclear capabilities, that includes delivery systems, is on par with what other countries around the world are doing. We got to make sure these things work and that they're safe. In terms of the Chinese nuclear program, that wasn't discussed in any of our meetings. That's something that happened at the staff level, but these are longstanding concerns. I mean, the Chinese are undertaking the most rapid military buildup in human history. So, and part of that is their expansion of their nuclear capabilities. So obviously we're keeping an eye on that, and I think everybody's concerned about that.
Of course, you want to be competitive, Tommy, no doubt about it, right? If our adversaries are doing something, we got to be prepared. But what does that realistically mean for American citizens who also might not want these, tests of certain systems to be deployed nearby?
Well, it's about peace through strength. The Secretary said it right there, that this is on par with what other countries are doing, and that's key to this. The president's been clear that we're going to have the best fighting force in the history of the world that is capable of defending our interests, capable of defending the American people, and that is a key part of peace through strength. But no one can deny that this president is a peacemaker, talking about 8 conflicts in just a matter of months, things that no other president could do, global coalitions that have been assembled in the pursuit of peace because of President Trump's leadership. He's clear, though, we're going to have peace through strength. We're going to pursue peace. We're going to defend our national interests. We're going to put America first, and this is all a part of that.
While we wrap up here, and message received, when we wrap up here, I have to ask you about one of our reports that we shared from Reuters. Our senior correspondent, John Huddy, was highlighting about Venezuela reportedly readying to mobilize the country's military forces. This is according to a Reuters report stating Maduro plans to deploy weapons, including Russian-made equipment, and going even farther than that, to a potential U.S. attack. Responding to that, can you respond to that?
Well, Maduro is the head of an illegitimate regime. As the Secretary said, we're not going to waste our time responding to what he has to say. But let me be clear, as the Secretary and President have also said, we are engaged in a counter-cartel, counter-narco-terrorist operation. There's a number that's incredibly important to keep in mind here, and that's 25,000. Every single one of those boats represents 25,000 Americans that could be poisoned by the drugs on that boat. And this is part of an all-of-government approach, cooperation with our partners and allies in the region, addressing the precursors of fentanyl, addressing illegal migration and the fact that cartels follow those illegal migration flows. A whole-of-government approach to secure our border and stop the flow of these deadly drugs into our country. The leading cause of death for Americans aged 18 to 40 being overdoses driven by these illegal deadly drugs. The president promised to combat these cartels, promised to secure the border. He is doing just that.
All right, that's the message from the State Department via Tommy Pigott. Thank you so much, Tommy, for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. All right, we are following some.